Welcome back, guys, to the Jake Ellenbogen channel. I'm sure you guys are confused as to what is going on with this channel, why on earth this is going to be about WandaVision, but I was asked by multiple people on the streams, hey, if you know so much about Star Wars and you know so much about the MCU and football and baseball and all this, why don't you just make it about you? And I thought about it and thought, well, I'd be going away from my niche. I don't know. Do I really care? Not really. I think I want to put out content that people want to hear and see. So I'll do spoiler warning. This is going to be my WandaVision video. I'm just going to talk about what I thought. My takeaways. Just everything I thought. My critiques, if anything, and then what it means for the rest of the MCU, what I think it's going to mean, yada yada. So, before I get into it, if you guys like this, be sure to subscribe. I really also before I get into that, if you guys would go to manscaped.com and type in. It's 20% off and free shipping over at manscaped.com when you type in JKB or DTR as the promo code. They are a sponsor for us and sponsored for this channel. So shout out to Manscaped there. But anyway, so I wanted to do a video because, like I said, was talking to people on the stream. I think it'd be a good idea, and so I just was really taken over by this show. I thought this show was very impressive. I mean, first off, to start off, Wanda Maximoff. If you don't know the story, definitely don't be watching this video. Go and watch the MCU, all the movies. You don't have to watch them all to understand it, but I recommend watching them all. I just did a watch through. So first and foremost, it starts off Wanda Maximoff, who is played by Elizabeth Olsen, who is maybe my favorite actress right now in the game, and this is why. This show is one of the main reasons why, but so basically she starts off, she is a mutant. The MCU couldn't call her a mutant because they didn't have the rights to her, only Fox did. So essentially, she is a mutant in this whole story and everything. And her twin brother, who is Quicksilver, that's his name. He is obviously, his name is Peter Maximoff, and he's very fast. Like, he's like the Flash of the MCU, and he's also a mutant. So like, they're X-Men characters technically, but since it's the MCU, they didn't have the rights to X-Men until recently. They had to call them Miracles. So essentially, just to have some backstory there, Wanda Maximoff is going to be the Scarlet Witch. That is what her path is. And so as I watched WandaVision, I had all sorts of theories. As you guys know, I shared a bunch of them, and I just couldn't decide where this thing was going. It looked like we could see, the rebirth of Ultron. It looked like we'd see Nightmare. It looked like we'd see Mephisto. But at the end of the day, what I took away from this show is that it was ultimately WandaVision as kind of a way to distract the viewer and have them realize, look, this had nothing to do with the Wanda and Vision necessarily. It did, but it didn't. It was all about, at the end of the day, it was about the origin story of Scarlet Witch. And the reason for that, we heard about it at, the reveal for Disney, when they announced that the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange 2, was going to be coming out, and that just out of the blue, Elizabeth Olsen was going to reprise her role as Wanda Maximoff in somewhat of a co-star role. We thought, this WandaVision TV series that they were talking about with Paul Bettany reprising his role as Vision, it was very interesting. It raised the question of what could be happening. What are the connections there? There has to be one. And so this is the story of how Wanda Maximoff rose up, so to speak, and became the Scarlet Witch. And I'll be honest, it's not the happiest story ever, but it's the most interesting TV series I've ever seen, most original, because essentially the 8 episodes, not all of them, but most of them, they go through, and it's like different time periods. And you find out more, obviously episode 8, things kind of came together a little bit, but to make a long story short, Wanda goes through the generations of TV series. So she was really inspired, as we found out, by it was like episode 21 in season 2. I could be butchering that, but it was the Dick Van Dyke Show. So as you see, early on, it's based on the Dick Van Dyke Show. Then we get into Bewitched, and you start to see different shows that it could be Brady Bunch and Malcolm in the Middle, and then Modern Family. And as that goes on, the way the whole TV series is shot changes. It's like they're in a studio and all that. So it was really cool the way they did it. Having the Hex and having Wanda controlling everybody was, I thought that was what was happening, but it was pretty crazy when it was really, revealed. Catherine Hahn did a phenomenal job, playing Agatha Harkness, who I assume that's who she was when, Agnes was the name, the nosy neighbor. So I just think it was just a really well done TV show. A lot of twists and turns, really dark at the end of this show. Tyler Hayward was the biggest asshole I have literally ever seen on a TV series. Maybe that's not true, but he was so bad. Could not stand him. So that means he did a good job of me hating him. It was also a little bit of an origin story for Photon, who was played by Monica Rambeau. If you didn't know, she was a sword agent. Her mother, Maria Rambeau, she was in Captain Marvel. And, now, of course, we heard about that happening where, the actress that plays Maria Rambeau, or Monica Rambeau, rather, she would be in Captain Marvel too. So I thought this show did a nice job of tying up a little loose ends. It was just basically introducing Monica to the MCU, even though we saw her as a little kid in Captain Marvel. But it was tying her in. It was tying Jimmy Woo, who we saw in Ant-Man and Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp. And now Ant-Man's going to have a third movie, Quantumania, which is going to be coming out in a year or so. And that ties into that. Jimmy Woo is a fan favorite, so those two, and then Kat Dennings as Darcy. Darcy, of course, was first introduced in the first Thor movie and kind of fell out of favor. She was in the second and then wasn't in the third. None of them were in the third. So neither was Eric Selwig and neither was Jane Foster. So now Thor Love and Thunder 4 is going to probably feature Darcy and Jane and as Thor and all of that. So that'll be interesting. And I thought it just tied in pretty well. Keep in mind, it's supposedly 2 weeks after the events of Endgame, and 6 months later, Spider-Man Far From Home hit. So this is actually taking place beforehand. So I figured there couldn't be anything super drastic happening in this universe because, well, Far From Home, the world is still standing. They show Peter, in Queens. They show him in, they show him all over. They show him in Queens. They show him in, Paris. They show him in all sorts of London. So you had to know the world wasn't, over. Like Wanda didn't destroy the world, or Nightmare didn't, or anything. So it opened up different things. But yeah, I thought WandaVision just did a great job all in all. I thought I'd give it a 9 out of 10. It was a great TV show. It was short, but it was great. Really enjoyed the ending. I felt like the ending was bittersweet. Of course, it's kind of where I felt it was trending. Really curious to see what happens with Spectral Vision, because Spectral Vision, which is called White Vision by a lot of people, essentially he got all of the memories that Vision had initially had lived through. But keep this in mind, Vision died in Infinity War, and so he didn't have a chance to see the events of Endgame. So he doesn't know how that all ends. At one point or another, Darcy is talking to him in one of the episodes and explaining what happened, but he didn't actually live those memories. So he didn't transfer those, Vision memories to the other Vision. When that Vision took that, Spectral Vision took that, he said, "I am the Vision," and flew up into the sky. Now, I know a lot of people were saying, why didn't he go and comfort Wanda, yada, yada. I will say this. Vision will be back, okay? And Spectral Vision will be back. But here's the thing. Spectral Vision just received all of the memories of Vision at once. So it was hard for him probably to comprehend everything. Keep in mind, his initial threat was Wanda and Vision. He was sent to kill them and programmed to kill them by sword. He overcame that programming because the imaginary Vision, so to speak, told him not to, essentially. So gave him all those memories. I wouldn't be surprised if the guy's going back to Stark Tower because I mean the memories are all over the place. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. With Wanda, basically people are asking me what is going on in the after credit scene. First off, she is doing a thing, so she's like projecting herself to the outside world for people like Nick Fury and what have you that are spying on the quote unquote Avengers and making sure like what they're doing. Because keep in mind, this isn't that long after the events of the Sokovia Accords. So because of that, a lot of these, it doesn't just change because they saved the world again. A lot of these people are still scared of the Avengers, and they're still, like the government still wants to control them. So, Wanda felt the effects of that with Sword, and so she, at the end of that, the end credits, she's essentially in the back of her home, going through the dark spell book called the Darkhold, which was shown it was featured in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's completely different. It's a redone version of the Darkhold for the MCU, so that does not make, the Darkhold in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. canon, unfortunately. So she's learning, and she's becoming really strong really fast, but she's projecting a different form of herself so nobody interferes or nobody gets, confused. Or she's probably thinking Doctor Strange could appear at any second or something. So Doctor Strange did the same thing in his standalone movie. So that is exactly what Wanda was doing. But all in all, this is pretty awesome. Getting Wiccan and Speed, getting to see them as kids. Obviously, they're gone, but they're not gone in the fullest sense. Because at the end of the after credits scene, or towards the end, you do hear them shouting for their mom. So that leads me to believe it could be Nightmare, it could be Mephisto, or it could be Chthon, who actually wrote the Darkhold in itself, the god of chaos, magic, or the god of chaos and chaos magic. You get the point there. So there's a lot going on here, and it's all really fascinating to me that they took a side character in the MCU and Wanda Maximoff and turned her into a main character in Scarlet Witch. Whether she becomes evil or not is yet to be seen. But what I wouldn't be surprised with is if all of a sudden she gets kind of coerced, trying to save her family, trying to get her boys back. She gets coerced into putting everyone else in harm's way. And we've already seen Wanda's not a bad person, but she can be influenced to do bad things. She's very similar to Jean Grey. They're both Nexus beings in the comics. So it wouldn't shock me if it goes that way. But I don't think we're going to see her in Spider-Man 3, maybe a cameo, but I think we're definitely going to see her. Well, we will definitely see her in Multiverse Madness. I just think it's going to be really crazy, and I'm really looking forward to it. This TV show did a nice job of immersing us back in the MCU after last year's hiatus with COVID. We didn't get anything. We didn't get any of the projects that were originally announced for us. You had the Eternals that was pushed back. You had all sorts of stuff pushed back, and so this year you have still stuff getting pushed back, but it looks like everything is going to be on par. And now, Falcon Winter Soldier's coming, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, I'm excited for that. And, I look forward to, seeing the future of the MCU, but I think it was definitely a really good TV show. I highly recommend it. I would be likely to recommend this to anybody. I think it works as a standalone TV show, to be honest with you. It helps to know the backstory, but you don't absolutely need it. I think it works just the way it sets up and everything. And, you could tell nothing is the way it seems, as some, Truman Show undertones and things along that nature. So, definitely appreciate what they were doing with that. Appreciate, the acting ability of Elizabeth Olsen, who was just phenomenal in this show. I mean, she should win all the awards. She was so good. Catherine Hahn, and then, of course, Paul Bettany. I thought they all did a great job. Now, would there be a season 2? No. This is the way it ends. I think this is good. Loki, there could be a season 2, and Falcon Winter Soldier, there could be. But, if you're looking to get into a nice TV show, it's already gone. Like, it's done. You have 9 episodes on Disney Plus. Go and binge this show. It's worth it. I recommend watching, the other shows, the other movies to get a little glimpse about Wanda Maximoff, but you don't have to. I think it does that well on its own. So it'll be interesting to see how they do it. I don't know if they're going to go with the whole demonic route with having Mephisto being the soul, having part of the soul of the kids and everything. I don't know where they'll go with that. But all in all, really impressed. Thought there could be some X-Men or Fantastic Four reveals. There was not, and I'm okay with it because, after the fact, it's fun being, a fan theorist and all that. But, at the end of the day, you see it for what it is. And this was a project, and this was meant to put Wanda Maximoff, rather Scarlet Witch, on the map and make her a legit character, not just a secondary character, not just a side character, not just an attractive character, a very, very legit character, a top-notch character. And I think they did that. I think now everybody wants to see her. And, I'm just hoping they don't make her fully evil. But, we'll see. That's my video on WandaVision. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll do another video on the MCU where I rank all the movies. And then we'll get back to football. But this is it. This is the new future of this channel. You guys wanted it, so you guys get it. This is the WandaVision video that I wanted to do, and so I did it. So that's the recap, and that's my thoughts on the show. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop comments below. If you guys are annoyed that I spoiled this for you, you should have listened to me when I said, the spoilers are ahead. But again, appreciate you guys, and I'll be back on Monday for the live stream. I hope you guys take care. Later.